I believe it was Robert Frost who wrote the famous 19th century poem about a path being less traveled, about a path, one road diverging in a yellow wood, and deciding to take the path that is less traveled. Of course, there could be many very diverse interpretations of this classic American piece of literature, but here is one interpretation. So one could argue that in this world that we live in, there are two types of people, which I mentioned in the previous video, about how there are people that build systems, build things around us, and then there's everyone else, the people that maintain the system, so to say, people that keep things up and running. For example, could be, this is out in nature right now, but say this camera that I'm using right now to film this video. There's someone that built it, that invented it. Say Steve Jobs invented the iPhone, and many other smartphones that we have today that we take for granted they're used by everyone else, and they're built by other companies. They're built by all the workers in the manufacturing plants that create them. Now, Steve Jobs is the person that built the system, and then the person that manufactured this smartphone that I'm using is the one that is keeping it up and running. So that's one example. And we have a choice on which one we want to be. Do you want to be the person that builds a system, or do you want to be a person that helps maintain a system? Which there's pros and cons to both. For example, a person that builds a system, there is a higher risk, of course, higher reward. There's a higher chance that you're going to fail. Whilst if you are going to maintain a system, the path you're going through, it's a lot more predictable. How you're going to fare in your endeavor is, well, you can be more certain how it's going to be like. It's more, you can more easily make a forecast, so to say. And whether we decide to be one or the other, the former of building a system, having a much flatter bell curve, as a statistician may put it, of you can be at the far end of failure or the far end of success, high likelihood of being in both, while the person that in the latter that maintains the system, it's a much narrower bell curve where you're a lot more likely to be in the average of doing okay. Not great, but not terrible. But you can do all right for yourself. Which one we decide to be, that's up to each person's. Is our own individual choice in a free and open society. Of course, no one is to judge you, or to tell you, rather, which one you should be. Let's say you would like to build a system. One such question you can ask yourself is, well, a lot of people don't want to build a system because there's so much risk involved. So therefore, how do you minimize that risk? How do you lessen it so that you're more likely to accomplish whatever it is that you set out to accomplish? Well, one can make the interpretation of, well, ask a further question on top of that: how do you increase your chance of success? How do you lower the amount of competition that you have? Lower the amount of people that are going to be doing the same things you are going to be doing, and therefore decrease your chance of success because there are so many people already doing it. How do you break out of all these people that are lookalikes? They look similar to you. Well, one possible answer to that is one could decide to move to somewhere else where there is less competition. Say you live in a place of, well, you're like everyone else, which is common in your hometown or your upbringing. You're similar to everyone else. Why not go to somewhere different? Or perhaps you have an angle at things that other people don't have. where you are different, and perhaps you can take advantage of that difference. It could be to your advantage. And perhaps you can find somewhere where there's a lot less competition. However it is that you interpret it, whether you call it a blue ocean, or a Wild West, or a frontier market, however it is that you want to your market, so to say, go somewhere that is less people, there are less people, less crowded, whereas Robert Frost put it, the path that is less traveled, where there are less footprints, a path that perhaps people don't want to travel for good reason. There's a lot more unknowns. Taking that leap of faith and going out there into this less structured area, this less structured environment where things are more unpredictable, perhaps by the wit of your mind, you can find something that is different, something where you can succeed. And in this interpretation of building your own system, you go to a place that is of less competition, less crowded, and therefore a higher likelihood of success. Because you, out of all the other people that are very similar to you in your upbringing, you decided to take that leap of faith, go to somewhere different, and find something that perhaps no one has ever found before.